So, Stoke-on-Trent City Council is trying to persuade the government to abandon its plan of having a high-speed rail stop in Crewe and instead come to the city. Under the proposals, Stoke would have its own high-speed station on derelict railway land near the A500. And after that, it would go to Manchester on the current West Coast mainline route. John Acres got a view of what some people at Stoke's railway station said this morning for an HS2 stop in the city.
Yeah, all right here, wasn't it? It's central to everywhere, isn't it? What other advantages have Crewe got that Stoke haven't? You know what I mean? It's central everywhere, and it's easy to get about from here. If it's in motorways or anything, you can leave your car and get to anywhere, can't you?
I've actually spent 25 years on the railway, so I have a sort of fairly biased opinion. I think actually, in truth, quite a lot of people should be asking for trains to be nearer them than further away, and in truth, I think possibly Stoke is better from a conurbation point of view, but you have to say that Crewe is so much better connective-wise, and everyone should be clamouring for the railway nearer them because it's going to provide such a fast means of transport and also a good prospect of expansion business-wise for everybody as well. So, I mean, where it eventually turns up is no one's guess at the moment, but perhaps somewhere in between the two would be good.
What would be your shout if you were making the decision?
On a railway historical basis, I think Crewe because of its connectivity, but I can see the point of Stoke because they would gain so much from it. But Stoke already has a very much improved service to London, so they perhaps will see the benefits more simply because they've appreciated and used what they've already got. Who knows? It's a difficult one. Because it's not just a case of Stoke, it's about where it goes afterwards. Because they're talking Manchester, Leeds or Liverpool, aren't they? So I think it's still up for grabs what happens north of Birmingham.
It doesn't matter to me, but I don't think we should have HS2 at all. I think it's a waste of money, and I think it will disadvantage regional city centres because it will mean that people speed through places and the city centre shops and facilities are moved to unhelpful places near stations rather than the communities that people live in.
Oh, yeah, the thoughts of some people this morning at Stoke Railway Station. Mohammed Pervez is the Labour leader of Stoke-on-Trent City Council and says the benefits are clear.
Our scheme not only reduces the environmental impact of HS2, it saves UK PLC up to £5 billion and it delivers greater economic return to UK by incorporating the largest urban conurbation between Birmingham and Manchester. We think that they can do this quite easily. Trains to Manchester will be 30 minutes faster than today, and actually the benefits in terms of the savings, in terms of reducing the environmental impact, and in terms of overall greater economic impact on the country's economy are the big prizes that we need to be focusing on.
Well, that's Mohammed Pervez, the leader of Stoke-on-Trent City Council. Joe Rukin is the campaign manager for Stop HS2. They're against it, as the name would imply. Joe, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Tim.
Just explain why you're against HS2 in a nutshell, if you will.
Oh, there's no business case, no environmental case, no money to pay for it. There was never an assessment of what was best for Britain's transport infrastructure. And it's just a vanity project that's going to mean a massive subsidy and a massive cost goes into something that will only benefit the richest in society.
Why is it then that the leaders of Stoke-on-Trent City Council and the leaders at Cheshire East Council want it?
Well, this is the thing, that the councils are being conned into this idea that it's going to bring regional growth and prosperity, when all it's going to do is suck more economic activity to London. Like, look at the Crewe figures. Like, Crewe's got a population of about 85,000, but they're saying it's going to create 60,000 jobs. Well, how does that work? I'll tell you how it works. It doesn't. And we're seeing a lot of this now. We're seeing people fighting for station. We're seeing Derby versus Nottingham. We're seeing Sheffield City Centre versus Sheffield Meadowhall. And now we're seeing Stoke versus Crewe. And this simply isn't going to happen. But what the government have been trying to do with these councils is, because obviously they've got opposition on the phase one, what they've decided is, instead of saying to councils, well, it's not going to come in, said, oh, well, put in a bid for a station. And of course then they're not opposing it, they're actually lobbying for it. And it's a very canny move from the government, dangling this carrot, which is never going to transpire.
You're saying it's not going to create the kind of jobs that are being discussed here, but of course in a way you don't know that, do you?
Well, absolutely, we know that. You just look at the.
You're speculating, really.
No. You just look at Ashford in Kent, and the number of empty office blocks that you've got there. Look at Lyon. Look at Lille, where unemployment went up against the French national average when the TGV got there. There's loads of examples of what this does, and it just sucks more economic activity to the capital. And because London is so primate in the UK economy, the effect here is likely to be worse than other countries. And at the very best, what you're going to do is you're going to increase the London commuter belt.
Does your case, though, become less valid when you've got the local authorities all trying to champion the idea in their own community?
Well, I'd say that they're all completely misguided, and they're thinking that we can get investment, we can get jobs. No, you won't. You will simply get a bit of activity around the station, and the rest of the region will miss out as a result. But more and more, the economic activity will simply get dragged to London.
Are you saying that the local authorities are perhaps not looking at the case against it then, and they simply want it because it's something they want to say is something they fought for?
Absolutely. It's just a lot of local authorities have this idea that if stuff is built in their area and they're not paying for it, then of course we're all paying for it, but it's not coming out of their budget, then therefore it's a good thing. But that's something that these local authorities need to look at. You look at Crossrail, it was subsidised, it was mostly funded, not by the Department for Transport, but by Transport for London, and an increase in business rates for the areas that it served. And this is one of the things that the government have gone very quiet on, that the places that get the stations will be asked to pay for those stations. And maybe Stoke and Crewe need to look at that before they start lobbying for a station.
All right, we'll leave it there for now. Joe Rukin, thank you, campaign manager for Stop HS2.